All right, so thank y'all for tuning back in today. First off, thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching. So today I'm going to get some of the spot welds on a cowl cleaned up, so I can get the inner cowl primed. It had a little light surface rust. I got that sanded down already. I just hand sand that. I'm going to get the welds ground down where I welded up underneath the cowl, and I'm going to clean up back the floor just a little bit and get some primer put on that. And then I think after that, probably going to go ahead and start stripping the paint off the roof and the quarters. So this video is just basically going to be fairly simple video, not very long. Just show you guys the cowl procedure as far as grinding that down and getting that dressed up. I'll show you the tools I'm gonna be using today. I know a couple of you guys want me to set up video and work, but right now my thing that I was videoing with actually working is basically lost and misplaced. So that's the main reason I haven't been videoing actual work. This is mainly just update status on Frankenstang. But yeah, I'll show you the tools I use as far as grinding down the spot welds and all that other stuff. So if you want to hang out, check this out. So this is the best tool for doing metal. Just cut off the old cutoff wheel. Use that a lot. And then as far as grinding down spot welds, this works the best. This is actually, they come out with this right here for actually taking out spot welds on panels that you're not going to reuse. It's way faster, but I use them to grind the spot welds down. It cuts them down super flat, super fast. Yeah. So say that 13 times real fast. Super flat, super fast. But so yeah, thanks for watching the videos. I appreciate it. Yeah. Stick with us to get these ground down and I'll show you what they look like. Alright, so I actually found my tripod thingamabobber over there and a bunch of stuff. Imagine that. I did get most of this ground down already, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys kind of how this works. I've got some spot welds left here. I got to cut down a little bit and I'll hit a couple in the floor pan. It's not rocket science, it's not hard, and I know a lot of guys like to see actual work being done, and I get that. So we'll get some of this done and I'll show you how easy it kind of is. Now, these spot welds, they're just kind of round on the top. Best thing is just lay this flat as you're using it on top of the weld and just kind of don't put a lot of pressure on it. The belt does all its work on its own. You don't have to really push on it. It just cuts it down pretty easy. Oh, make sure you got your protection on. So that's really about it. There was like 3 or 4 little welds here. I welded it underneath yesterday, like I stitch welded the bottom like I said I was going to, and it just set some burn through marks on the top where this upper baffle is going to sit once I weld that back in place. When I get the upper baffle ready to go, I'll weld that up on camera so you guys can watch me weld a little bit. And there's a little stitch weld here I'm going to cut down. Yeah, like I said, I already cut all this down. I'll take you off the tripod here in a second and show you what this looks like. I didn't do any of the back floor yet. I can save that till later and maybe try to record some of that. But today the main thing is we're going to get this put in etch primer, 2K, get this set up for some weld through primer, and then get this piece welder back on the other side as well. And we're also going to prime up inside the cowl area. Like I said, there's some light surface rust in there. I hand sanded out with 80 grit. I get a lot of people ask me what's the best way to sand up in the cowl, and honestly, just by hand. I haven't found a tool you can get up in there that works the best. So if your cowl's just lightly surface rust, just hit it with some 80 grit, fold it up, use your hand, put some gloves on. Also, there's the screws that come through the cowl from the engine bay. Take those out before you try to hand sand that, because them damn things hurt, I can tell you that. And also watch the hood cowl seal. They've got some little metal claws that come inside. Those hurt too. So trust me, I've found that out many times. So I'll go ahead, I'm going to get this upper cowl taped up and get it ready to primer, and then I'm going to show you Well, right now I'll show you what this cleaned up like, and then I'm gonna get this taped up and get all this ready to primer. So for those you want to watch, it's kind of boring watching me grind spot welds or weld something up, but I'll do some of that for you guys that want to see that. And yeah, let's check this out real quick. All right, so this is the welded area. If you go back to the other video, you see where I had it all welded up. I knocked all that light surface rust off of there. Now you're always going to have at least a little bit left. You can use some of that Rustall and put it on. It's just a liquid, and get rid of all that surface rust and then wipe it down. But the etch primer that I use, it kills all that acetone that's in the etch primer. Like I said, I had some light surface rust up in there. I hand sanded down in a couple spots there. I need to hit a little bit more right here too. So I haven't done any more with the floor yet. It's all welded up. I'll show you this on the bottom. This is where I stitch welded all up in here to the lower cowl, down through here, and down the bottom. So once I clean all that up a little bit and reseam seal it, it'll look factory. You'll never know that was done. And put some fresh paint on it. Same way with the other side over there. It's all done. So yeah, if you're hanging out today, watching the old fat man work on a hoopty, we'll get this lower area primed in, get the baffle ready to weld on, and hopefully get that done today. So stay tuned. I'll try to get some welding on video on this panel, welding this side up, and I'll show you how I fit that up, get it ready to go. And yeah, let me know what y'all think. Keep watching, keep subscribing, and I appreciate y'all that have subscribed and are watching this video, and let me know what you think of the content so far. All right, so I got it all taped up, ready to go. Resanded it a little bit. I blended in the A-pillar area where I'm going to put some etch primer up the A-pillar and down on the lower cowl in the baffle area. Now I did do some tape marks where I'm going to put weld through primer to weld this baffle on, so I don't want to get etch primer and 2K on that, so I have to go back and grind it off. That makes no point. So I'll show you that real quick. Then we'll mix up some 2K or some etch primer and get some etch primer on this thing, and then show you what it looks like after I get it etch primed as well. So let's check it out. All right, so this is where I'm talking about. This is your weld through primer is going to go right here, so there's no point in priming that with 2K or etch primer up here as well. And then I'm going to weld it back through here in a spot right here. I'm not going to worry about taping that up because I'm not exactly sure where that's going to fall. Once I figure that out, I'll hit that with a grinder so I got something to weld to as well. So that's the cowl taped up. The other side is all cleaned up like this. Like I said, I blended it in right here for some primer. Now I'm going to go back and strip all this down, so this will be bare metal once I get to it. But right for now, I'm just going to blend this in right now with some etch primer and some 2K. So with that being said, we get this primer mixed up, get a respirator on, and get some primer on it, and we'll check it out when it's done. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I got my primer mixed up. Those of you wondering, I use it's what is it called? It's Acme Finish One primer. It's basically made by Martin Senior. It's a two-part, mixes 1-to-1 etch primer. It's green, just like the rattle can stuff. You don't have to buy this stuff. You can use a rattle can. It's okay. It's got kind of the same stuff in it, but the actual spray gun stuff is a little bit better. But if you don't have the equipment, you don't want to spend all that kind of money, because I think I paid $260 for this gallon etch primer. But it does go a long way. A gallon etch primer will probably do almost 2 cars, depending on how many coats you put on or how heavy you put it on. Etch primer is not designed to put on heavy. It's not designed to fill pits or anything like that. It's basically designed to go over bare metal if you're using a 2K primer that doesn't stick to bare metal. And it's also designed to go over light surface rust. It kills any surface rust that might be there with the acetone that's in that primer. So therefore you need to wear a respirator. So I've got it mixed up, ready to spray. I'm going to go ahead and put my respirator on and start spraying this. And y'all can watch me spray this if you want, or you can fast forward or whatever you want to do. So for the guys that say, I wanted to see you do some work, we're doing some work today. So let's get a respirator on, got rubber gloves on, and see what this looks like with some primer on. That's at it for the first coat. I'm probably going to go back over and put a second coat on it. I'll let this sit for a little while. I'm sure you guys don't want to watch this primer dry. Once this dries, I'll scuff it down, put 2K on it, and I'll let the 2K cure overnight, and then I'll come back in, put some paint on it, load up the baffles, and call it done. I may go ahead and do the baffles today. I may not let that wait. We'll see how that goes. Let me know what you think so far. Those guys watching, that's turned out pretty good. I think it looks nice. We'll keep on trucking. All right, so I got it primed up. I did etch primer first. I let it set for about an hour when I had some lunch, some warmed up Fat Man pizza. Then when I came back down, I hit it with some epoxy. I was going to do 2K on top of the etch primer, but this welding the baffle back on here, I'm not going to be able to get in there and put a lot of paint on it. I'll be able to get up in it a little bit. So you don't want to put a porous primer on there. So an epoxy is best for this area right here. So I don't, factory uses the E-coat primer, so that keeps the water and all that stuff out. 2K does not do that. So I went ahead and used epoxy on top of etch primer. So I'll show you what it looks like. Hopefully we'll get it to cure up here in a minute, and then I can go ahead and get the baffle welded on. So those of you guys that want to see the baffle, some welding going on, do some welding here in a minute. So let's check this out real quick. Let me know what y'all think so far. I know this build's going along fast. I'm trying to get them done as quick as I can. This one just went together probably quicker than everybody thought it was going to. So let's hope the engine runs, because I haven't tried that and it's been sitting for a long time. So let's check this out real quick. Let me know what you think. All right, so this is the passenger side. I got it all dressed out. Right here where there's no primer, that's going to be weld through primer. The baffle sets right there, and then I'm going to weld that back up. So once the epoxy sets for probably another 10 or 15 minutes, tacks up really well, I'll hit that with some weld through primer, set it on there and weld it back in place. We'll walk over to the driver's side. So a neighbor's mowing the yard. I apologize if you hear lawnmower in the background. So check it out real quick. Driver's side, get cleaned up also. Good gap welds and all that stuff. Good etch or good stitch welds. Again, this is where the weld through primer is going to go. Up here and up here. Then I'll clean this up with the grinder, gap weld it, puts this back in place, and it should look pretty much factory, other than it won't have the spot welds. Oh well, no biggie, like you can see. So yeah. Oh, I got up in the cowl really well too, with etch prime, then epoxy. I'm gonna go up in there with 2K, put some 2K in there, let it cure up really well, and a hand sand up inside the cowl, because I'm gonna base coat clear up in the cowl that you can see, at least what I can get to. So just to make sure it's got future protection and all that other stuff. There here's Miss Baker. What you doing? You watching him mow the yard? She's just chilling today. So she's always down here hanging out. So if you're watching this video and you want to see some work, I'm fixing to put these baffles on and get ready to weld them up. So let me know what y'all think so far. All right, so got everything welded or put back in place. Got all the vice grips set up. Gonna do some burn ends on the outer baffle on this side. Get it welded up. Y'all want to watch some of this? That's fine. If not, that's fine too. Fast forward to the end. I don't know how much longer this video is going to be, but I'm going to get this side welded in. A few tack welds. I'll start down here and work my way this way. So be careful. I got some paper up here, so if you're welding, it's going to spark. So just make sure you don't catch it on fire. Make sure you don't have anything flammable laying around. Like I probably got stuff everywhere that's going to catch on fire. So fire extinguishers over there. Always keep one handy. So yeah, we're burning a couple of these spot welds in. Alright, so like I said before, I use weld through primer on this panel on the back side and on the inside and all that. So I've got weld through primer on all of it. That one got a good nice burn in. What I normally like to do is walk it down through here and make sure everything's good and tight between the panels for the next weld. So when you weld it up, the metal gets good and hot, and it bends pretty easy. So if you got some separation in between the outer baffle and the inner, and this part here would be the upper cowl. So if you got some separation in between those two panels, when the metal gets hot, just clamp with the vice grip and keep walking it down. It'll close up nice and tight. So number 2. Alright. Like I said, it's good and hot. Squeeze that together. Keep your panels nice and snug. Now on this upper piece here, There's also another piece of metal on the inside in between the upper cowl area and the outer baffle. That's why they look a little kind of offset in some places, because there is another piece of metal in between there. It's right there. Get number 3 on there. Now, if y'all wonder what I'm using, I've got an old Lincoln 110 I've had for years, 75-25 gas. The wire, I'm using 0.23 on this setup right now. I got it on the highest voltage you can set it on the 110 right now. If you're doing like floor pans, you can set it down on, I'll usually use it on B on a floor pan. But being this metal's pretty thick, you can set it up on the highest level you can to get a really nice, good penetration for your spot welds. Like I said, the metal's good and hot. Just keep squeezing it together, and it'll come together nice and tight, like they do from the factory. A lot of people will drill sheet metal screws to tighten that up. I don't like to do that because unless I have to, I've done it before. But when you use sheet metal screws, that's just extra holes you got to weld up. If you start here and everything's fitting nice all the way around, you can work it down from one end to the other without sheet metal screws, and the metal will tighten up as it heats up and gets hot. Just pull it together. Now, you saw that nice big spark? That's what I meant by keep a fire extinguisher handy, because you never know where it's going to go. Like over here, I've got some lacquer thinner rags. Well, actually, they're way over there. But you could get a spark, jump from here to there, and just poof. Welding up some stuff the other day, I was laying on the towel, so it hurt my back. Caught the towel on fire. That would have been good on camera. But yeah, so just be careful as you're welding. So I'm only going to do a couple more welds just to show you guys, and then I'm going to turn the camera off, get this all welded up, and show you what it looks like when it's done. You see the metal tighten up when I squeeze it, when it's hot for the next weld. So, now that I showed you a couple welds, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off, get this welded in place, and then I'll show you guys a finished product on this side. Alright folks, so I got this baffle welded in. I'm going to show you real quick. I haven't ground down the welds yet. I'm going to do that, and then I'll show it to you once it's all finished and cleaned up this side. And then I got to get on the other side, get it welded in, and I'm going to call it a day. So project's moving along. Let's check it out. Alright, so this is the baffle. Nice good spot welds. Like I said, I had it on the highest setting. I turned it down to B right over here, probably the second to lowest setting right here, to burn this one in. This gap weld, I'll grind that down and clean it up, and then get these good spot welds down in here. Those that are worried about good burn in, always check. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, see them good burn ins on the backside all the way through? That's how you know it ain't going nowhere. So it's good and burn in. I don't think the welds are going to go anywhere. I think the car's solid. Should be nice little car when I get it back together. So let me know what you think of progress so far. Go and grind these down, show what it looks like when it's finished, and we're gonna call it a day. Wrap this one up. All right, so everybody watch this video. I'm gonna show you the finished baffle, what it looks like. Then I'm gonna jump on the other side. I'm not gonna record that one. Be just like this one, so there's really no point. If you've been watching this whole video, thanks for watching. Let's check it out. All right, so got this all welded in, cleaned up smooth. Looks really nice. up here as well. And this is where this welds up here at the top. Now, I had a couple guys, gals, I'm not sure who it was, ask me about welds. Did I see that the welds are the same from car to car to car to car? This is probably the most in-depth one I've ever done, and honestly, the welds down the rockers seem to all be in the same spot. I have seen a couple welds between these two cars that were like hand done at the factory. If you've ever watched any How a Car's Built video, you'll see they do some hand welding on certain cars in certain spots that the automated machines can't get to. Those sometimes are in different spots. Some are bigger than others, like this one right here. So this weld right here isn't automated. It's hand done, and also the ones up here on these little paws that I talked about in the other video, those are done by hand as well. They're not automated. So that would explain why some of those little 3-paw things, some of them aren't welded worth a hill of beans. They're done by man, and you know how that goes. Depending on what day the car's built and what kind of mood they're in. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this other side. As you can see, it's still nice out. And it literally, I probably spent an hour on that, 45 minutes, weld, grind, clean it up, and it turned out that nice. Now you can dress those spot welds. A lot of guys use some all metal just to fill it in and make it look smooth. I find that once I get it to this point, once I prime it up and put some 2K on it, I can fill in most of those with some 2K. If you can't, if you got some big ones like some of those, I tack welded a little bit more. If you got little spots, anything bigger than a pencil tip, I say try to re-weld. That way the water doesn't get in there. It just sits and creates rust down the road. Also, up inside, if you can see up in here real quick, up inside there, all the epoxy primer still looks really well. I'll try to paint up in there when I get to that point. But all that held up really well. Didn't burn any from welding it on there, so it held up really good. So I've got good coverage underneath that panel, I think, with the weld-through primer and the epoxy and the etch primer. So that should last a long time, considering about what Ford put on these with just an E-coat down to, 30 years ago, whatever it is. So yeah, I won't babble. I got work to do. Got to get this other side done. For those of you watching, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you have subscribed, thanks, appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can hit me at foxjunk73@gmail.com. I've had people hit me up for some sheet metal. I've got parts cars if you need some stuff. I'm more than happy to help you all out. If you have any questions on how to do something like this, or maybe you got one that you want done like this that's been hitting the back or the front or whatever, let me know. I might be able to do it on the channel for a small fee. I made it look easy. It's really not. It's a lot of work. I've spent time off camera doing measurements, making sure the rockers are level, the roof is level, and all that stuff. It just takes a lot of time. But yep, literally I've probably been working on the car, I think 3 weeks total. Most of that was 1 week stripping the Cobra and 1 week stripping the LX. So that was 2 weeks knocked out just stripping cars, the interior and all that other stuff. And then so far I've only been really actually putting the car together and welding it up for I think about 4 or 5 days. So that's really about it. So again, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and let me know what you think so far. Did I do this the right way, and would you own a car like this? Let me know opinion. Thanks again, and have a good day.